Okay, hello everybody. Here's chapter 12. We're talking about public relations and then some other related things like social media and sponsorships. And public relations for a long time was kind of the ugly red-headed stepchild of the promotional mix, and it was always an afterthought, and it was never a big part of the promotional mix. But that's really changed in recent years, especially with social media becoming a part of that. So this is just kind of some definitions here. We're trying to create a rapport with customers, promote what we have, supplement sales efforts, but these are not direct, these are not like advertisements where we're coming right out and asking somebody to do stuff. It's really here about trying to create a positive image for the company. And that's really what public relation is all about, in a number of different ways. Sometimes we have to try to put a positive spin on something, but we have different goals here than we had with the advertising. These would be some of the main press releases, publicity, news conferences, but I'm going to show you some other ones, some of the main material there. Things that we do in public relations. So relationships with the press would be one. Publicity just for a specific product. Public affairs would be our relationships with the general public. Lobbying would be our relationships with government, trying to encourage certain laws to get passed or prevent certain laws to get passed that would favor our business. Investor relations, keeping our stockholders happy. And then just general development. These apply as well to nonprofits, and maybe even more to nonprofits. Development there tends to be getting donors and that sort of thing, letting people know what our good cause is. So these are even big things for that. You also see kind of as a form of the, well, here, I'll put it on the next one. These are some major public relations tools. So I can try and get something in the news, and we'll talk about press releases. I can go around and have speeches or special events like a grand opening. I can have written material like brochures or pamphlets, audio-visual material, especially if it's something that I can't really communicate that well in a written format, that people need to see it to get excited about it. If you go to Disney's website and indicate that you are interested in a vacation, they will send you this planning material that includes, a DVD to watch and all this kind of stuff. Public service is another one, and this is kind of cause-related marketing. So I'm going to help a certain group. So whether my team or my company has a team in the Relay for Life, or a connection to some group in the community that needs help, that type of thing. Buzz marketing is another one here. Buzz marketing is when I get those influencers, and we kind of talked about those guys, to start talking about my product. And this is what you see through the web. And I'm not actually promoting the company. I'm just trying to create a buzz about the company. If I can get these certain key people talking about my product, then the word will spread. And corporate websites. Corporate websites don't sell. They're not a place where you can buy stuff. They just have information about the company. So like if you go to, say, Procter & Gamble's website or something like that, you can't buy Procter & Gamble products at that website. You just learn about the company. So different ways to use their products and recipes and all those kinds of things that support the product and the company. But they're not, a marketing website is where you would sell stuff, and here you don't really sell things. So some other things in here. Some people have an in-house PR department, whereas some people hire external firms to do that. Really depends on the size of your company and what the resources that you have. The PR people will build relationships with the different media. In fact, here at the college we have a PR department, and they do a lot of different things. They're in charge of anything that comes through the newspaper or the local radio station. It goes through them. Any of the printed material that we go out goes through them. Also government relations, it all goes through that same department, so that they can kind of manage that for one consistent message. For instance, with the printed material, they make sure that everything that's going out has the exact same logo and the same font and the same color, so it's all consistent. So that's part of what they do. Political campaigns. So here's a good time to talk about that, right? Political campaigns really are, it's nothing more than a marketing campaign, right? And so they will definitely have PR specialists out there doing that. That's a huge part of a political campaign. It's really just advertising and PR is what a political campaign is. Crisis communication, when something goes wrong and they're trying to turn it around or explain it or put a positive spin on it. And then in foreign markets, it becomes important too, right? Because they can, things might be used differently, or they might understand what it is, and so the PR can help with that. One of the big tools of public relations is a press release. So this is a story or an article or a piece written by the organization, but then we want the news media to pick it up and disseminate the information. And we do that. There's no guarantee that the media will do that, but a lot of times they will. We can contact the newspaper and say, we have a new program we'd like you to do, and if they have room, they'll put it in, and they usually do because that's something that their readers are interested in. A press release might be putting information about a charity event or awards that somebody got, and you can see those in the newspaper too. If you go to the business section, it'll show people who got an award or a license or something like that, or just what we're doing in the community. Again, just kind of building up good relationships or good PR. The other thing it can do is crisis control. This is when something bad happens and the company has to explain it before it gets bad. Sometimes it's not true and they're there to assure people that this is not true, or sometimes it is and they're explaining this. And this can be done in a press release. It can be done in other ways. So we talked about here crisis communication, and I think the best example I can think of this was several years ago. JetBlue Airlines had a Valentine's Day fiasco. Something went wrong. The people were on the plane on the tarmac. It couldn't take off because of icing or something like that, and then they couldn't get back to the hangar for something. They couldn't get back in. I can't even remember now what would happen, but these people just sat on a plane on the tarmac for 8 hours or 10 hours or something like that, and it was just a disaster for them, and it was at JFK in New York or something, but the CEO of JetBlue went on every single talk show to talk about this. he went on the daytime talk shows like Today Show and that kind of stuff. He went on all the nighttime ones, I saw him on Letterman. And Leno, he went on all of them. And he knew he was going to get hammered because they did mess up. And he went on all these and he did not try to explain it away. He said, look, we messed up. Here's what happened, and we absolutely totally messed up. And, it was one of these kind of perfect storm type things, you know what I mean? Certain people couldn't get to their jobs that day because of the ice storm, and so, it was a variety of things. But he wasn't trying to get out of it. He completely owned it, and he said, but here's the thing. No one at JetBlue has been fired for this. In fact, I want the people who are involved in this crisis to stay here because now they know what to do. They know what happened. They will make sure this never, ever happens again. And so he said, I don't want to fire these people. These people now have the experience I need, and this is how I can ensure that this will never happen again. And he really took a negative thing and I think turned it into a very positive thing. And he said, in fact, there's no chance that this is ever going to happen at JetBlue again, and my competitors cannot say the same thing. He said, we know now what happened, we know how to deal with it, and I've got experienced people in here. And I thought he did a great job at turning that crisis thing into a very positive and thing for the company. And that's what PR is all about. Okay, sponsorships. This is when I pay to have my name associated with something. Okay, so that's what a sponsorship is. So a field, and every sports arena has somebody's name associated with it. It could be apparel. It could be an event like a tournament or All the bowl games now have somebody associated with them. They could be sponsoring a cause. They could be like vehicles, like NASCAR, those types of things. I get my name on there and I'm associated with that. There's a lot. Over 2/3 of the sponsorships in North America are for sports. So almost all of it is sports. Cause-related marketing. Here's our cause-related marketing that we talked about a little bit early. One of the fastest types of sponsorships here. And so a company supports a nonprofit organization in some way. And so I am like this one here, I'm the official sponsor of Special Olympics. But it doesn't even have to be that big. It could just be, I am supporting my local homeless shelter or something like that. And so my business develops a relationship with them. And there's quite a few articles, examples like that. Sometimes it goes so far as that the whole company is about that, like Tom's Shoes. Their whole company is built on a cause-related marketing thing. And so for every pair of shoes you buy, money is donated to give it. For every pair of shoes you buy, they give shoes to somebody in a developing country that doesn't have them. Or like the Life is Good, if you see those, that's all cause-related. All their profits go in there. So there's a lot of different ways to do that, and in small ways and in big ways. But that's become increasingly, because people feel good about supporting a company that is trying to help other people. So it's kind of a win-win. You might do it for a marketing reason, but people who need help are getting it, and people feel good about being your product, so kind of everybody wins there. Product placement is when a company's product is included in a show or a movie or a book or something like that. We generally pay a fee. So if you're watching a show and they have an Apple computer in the background, they paid to have that in there. That really becomes more important as people are skipping the commercials. And so it's generating exposure. It's trying to promote brand awareness. Those types of things. Just to getting people interested about it. Generally, like sometimes you see it, and you can see they've covered up the logo on there. That means the company didn't pay for it, so they're not giving them free press. But if you see products sitting in there, or somebody has a Coke or something like that, and so you're actually seeing a lot more of that again now as people are skipping through the commercials. Social media. So this has become huge, especially for small businesses. So we're using technology, a variety of technologies. And the other thing about this is it's interactive. Most of the communication so far has been one way, the company's message to the consumer. But this is an interactive means of communication, and people can communicate back to the company much more easily than they did before. So most of the United States has some sort of social media presence. I think it's like 70-something%, something like that. It is complex, and it is changing very quickly. And the thing is, again, this interactive, the thing that makes it very different is it is two-way communication. And what that means is sometimes the company loses control of the message. There's been examples where somebody started something on social media to try to promote some product, but people didn't like the product, and it turned into this horrible negative thing. And so if you're going to put yourself out there on social media, you have to be able to take the good with the bad. I had a friend who put a bad review of a hair salon or something, and it wasn't awful, but she wasn't pleased with what she did, and she posted a picture, and the salon wrote back, and they were mad, and they were very, very rude in this, and like, you can't criticize me, and blah, 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 and you're hurting people's lives here. And the thing is, if you put it out there on social media, you're going to get good reviews and bad reviews. You cannot please everyone. And how you deal with the negative is really telling a lot about your company. I mean, this was like, you don't get on there publicly and bash your customers. You have to like, oh, I'm so sorry, we would do anything we can to fix it. Even if what you're thinking in your head is completely opposite of that, when you're out there in the public, you have to assume you're going to get negative feedback as well as positive. And you just have to, again, like the JetBlue guy, try to turn that into something as positive as you can. And and try to save that situation, or at least come out looking professional to other people. So the other thing we hear in here is the social media zones. So social communities are channels of social media that focus on activities and relationships. So this would be social networking. So Facebook is in here. LinkedIn would be another example of that. Things with message boards, but they're fostering, community and relationships and people connecting with each other. Social publishing is distributing information. There's less relationship stuff. Blogs would be an example of that. YouTube is an example of social publishing. So, there's places for comments and that sort of stuff, but that's not really what you think of as connecting with people as much and building a relationship. Social entertainment is when we have games as part of the thing, Farmville, those types of things, where there's sort of a social aspect to the game, so any kind of those things that get people connected. And then social commerce is interactive shopping with reviews and ratings and that kind of stuff, social shopping websites where you can chat with people and the merchant and stuff when you're doing it. And I think a lot of websites are getting closer and closer to that. So those are the 4 social media zones, and that's it for Chapter 12.